Daniel, do you wish to give us a presentation on this one?
So thank you. So we said public hearing tonight for bylaw 455. So I'll just go through the purpose and history of the bylaw and then some of the comments that we've received so far on it. I'll turn it on. Okay. So bylaw 455. So that recreational use of cannabis is expected to be legalized in Canada in October 2018 by the provincial and federal government. So this amendment bylaw 455 would prohibit the cultivation, production, packaging, storage, distribution, trading, or selling of cannabis in all zones on Bowen. There are exceptions to that, so it'd be where the use is permitted as a farm use, where it's permitted for medicinal purposes, or where it's specifically permitted through a temporary use permit or rezoning application. So the intent of this bylaw is not to prohibit the recreational consumption of cannabis, which is regulated provincially in terms of areas that it's not acceptable to consume, but it's to regulate where cannabis is produced and sold on Bowen Island. In terms of history, so February of this year, Council directed staff to identify and assess options available regarding the potential legalization at that point, and then further later in February, Council directed staff to prepare an amendment bylaws to state that no person shall use any land, building, or structure for sale, production, distribution of cannabis. So bylaw 455 came to Council. First reading received March 26th and was referred to the APC and the Islands Trust. The APC supported the bylaw amendment as presented, and they provided comment that Council not apply undue restrictive conditions to future commercial applications. And the Islands Trust advised that our proposed bylaw is not contrary to or variance to the Islands Trust policy statement. So this bylaw was then given second reading May 28th and referred to a public hearing that's taking place tonight. So this is as of Friday, we'd received 4 letters to date. At that point, all 4 were essentially stating to ensure that the personal production of cannabis plants in a dwelling would be permitted. We've since received 2 additional comments, and those are in your agenda package.
Okay, thank you. So we've got another.
First up, Glenn Cormier, please.
Good evening, everybody. Glenn Cormier, 1526 Eagle Cliff Drive, Bowen Island. Mayor and Council, thank you for giving me some time tonight. I had previously expressed my support in principle regarding Council's decision to enact a bylaw to assist in the regulation of cannabis sales and distribution within the municipality of Bowen Island in advance of federal legalization this fall. I again wish to reiterate, although this decision is by no means a necessary step towards licensing retail sales or cultivation for distribution, it does go a long way in ensuring the public is kept informed, as well as given an opportunity to comment on how this will unfold in our community. I'm aware that this council supports legalization of cannabis and is committed to ensuring that Bowen Islanders are provided local access to both recreational and medical cannabis. However, as a potential applicant for a provincial cannabis retail sales license to operate on Bowen, I do wish to express my concern over how this extra municipal process may interact with the provincial licensing application process through the Liquor Control and Licensing Branch of BC. As the provincial government opens their licensing process, they will inevitably be inundated with applications. With each municipality around the province having varying opinions regarding retail sales within their community, I feel it is important that Bowen Island Municipality maintains a welcoming approach in the eyes of the province and works diligently to ensure local applications are not set aside at the provincial level due to our choice to put applicants through some additional process at the local level. With summer upon us and a municipal election in the fall, it is easy to see how a spot rezoning application for retail cannabis store could get stalled or set aside. I urge Council to direct staff to expedite any spot rezoning applications for cannabis sales or cultivation. The end of this prohibition is a monumental occasion for our country, and I feel Bowen Island is the kind of place that would like to be among the first communities in BC to celebrate legal personal access to recreational cannabis with their own retail stores. Regardless as to whether this extra rezoning process is necessary or not, it should not impede or delay the provincial licensing process. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, Maureen.
Just a comment that I would like to commend Glenn on his choice of Happy Isle Cannabis. Presumably his shop name.
Registered trademark.
Davis Allen, please.
Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the mayor and council for having the opportunity for myself and other individuals to speak about public input into the legalization of cannabis. And for those who weren't aware already, I'm proposing to be building a cannabis production facility on Bowen Island. This facility would be located across from the fire hall in Davies Orchard, owned by Andy Rainsley. And so on this property, we would be aiming to cultivate cannabis varieties that have lower THC than what is in the current market. And ideally what we would be focusing on would be the distribution of cannabis varieties that have therapeutic effects to them, and higher amounts of therapeutic compounds that are currently unavailable. For those who are unaware of myself, I actually grew up on Bowen Island, and I've been a medical cannabis patient for almost, I think, 8 or 7 years now. And I just had to double check the math there for a second. And I was prescribed it because I've had a chronic stomach disorder since the age of 10. And unfortunately, a lot of the treatments that were available didn't work. And one of the concerns that I have moving forward with legalization is that there isn't really much access to cannabis varieties that have higher amounts of these therapeutic compounds. To reference this, I actually attached my research notes and additionally 4 academic journals, which are peer-reviewed journals which go over the breeding of cannabis to isolate these specific compounds. And additionally, there would be further papers that I could send to the council as well regarding essentially how you could breed other varieties of cannabis that weren't in those. I just kind of gave a base of knowledge so at least the council could see where I'm coming from this. So why I'm addressing the council is ultimately because moving forward, if there's a blanket ban, it could potentially slow down individuals like myself who are looking to distribute and to go with the micro-producer license. Currently, the federal government has not given really much information of when the micro-producing licenses will be coming into effect. My business partner and I are currently looking into the potential that we could do a larger operation. We just want to make sure that there's water readily available on the property before we move ahead with that type of thought process, and additionally that we have the funds to move forward. But yeah, ultimately I just wanted to address this to the council, let them know that this is the project that we're currently working on. And additionally too, for those that are wondering where are these varieties coming from, as a medical patient who was under the original MMAR program that was brought in by Health Canada, I'm not sure actually when it was originally brought in, but it was dismantled in 2014, and individuals who were under the original regulation and under the court injunction were allowed to keep genetic material and additionally to grow for themselves. So since 2014, I've been holding on to a genetic library, which consists of different types of cannabis varieties that already are lower in THC. Additionally, they have higher concentrations of these therapeutic compounds. And by having this company readily available, we can be bringing this to the mainstream market, rather than it being just a fixation on high THC. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Allison.
So are you planning on growing medical cannabis?
Well, it would be for medical purposes, but the idea is that we'd be aiming for the recreational market as well. We don't want to limit it in the idea that potentially some people could be benefiting from these varieties that want to go and try cannabis. So instead of having just high THC available, these other varieties would as well. And what we would be aiming for is to eventually breed varieties that would be void of THC as well for individuals who are interested in those therapeutic effects. So.
Maureen, did you have any questions?
Yeah, just 2 questions.
Of course.
You mentioned Davies Orchard, and my heart skipped a beat. So what you're referring to is the land that was owned by the Davies across from the fire hall,
Yes.
not the Davies Orchard that is part of Crippen Park.
No. Sorry, I should have referenced that, and when I said that, I'm like, I think I said the wrong name there.
That's okay.
actually.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's why I was wanting to make sure I said that it was like where it was as well. Sorry about that.
The second question.
property,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the second question is your property on ALR land?
I believe so, but I actually was wanting to double check that. It's, I believe, a mixed-use property, and I could be mistaken on that. Is it RR3, but I could be wrong. And I believe it would be agriculture as well. But I just wanted to double check and communicate with council in the case that I was wrong, and that was
Our
residential.
planner can confirm that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay,
Okay,
great, thank you.
thanks so much.
Mary Ann Smith. Okay, there's no more time, unfortunately, so hopefully, I can actually, I'll call the next person if you'd like, and then,
Well, maybe that's enough. This is going to be very brief. Mary Ann Smith, 250 Slugger's Cove Road. I have known, and I'm sure some of you too, have known young men who used cannabis as 12-year-olds who have got permanent damage now, and we see them sometimes along the side of the road, or not always the side of the road, but doing jobs that, if they're employable, that are way beneath what their intelligence was. And I'm concerned about what people have in mind to protect our young people from having access to this. And it's a real concern, I think, for all of us. And that's all I have to say.
thank you. Next up, we have Pat. I didn't quite get to the spelling of the last name.
BRAWNER.
Thank you very much. Pat Browner, please. I am.
I've had communication with this young man, I can say young man,
Thank you.
which is very helpful.
I'd say a little louder than
So you get to that point at this age. Okay. Well, I've been on Bowen Island since, we've had property since 1985. But at the moment, I'm on my own, I'm in Cape Seal. And I love being here. So, I understand that I'm speaking about a bylaw written in anticipation of federal legislation regarding the growing, farming of cannabis on Bowen Island. It has been suggested that cannabis could be grown for specific cases, medical, for example, and then allowed for 1 year, only 1 year, with a licensed process. Am I wrong in that?
No, that sounds accurate.
That's right.
Sorry to-
Okay. Each case would be considered by council based on merit. Rezoning would probably occur. So there'd be a little control, and this would be a license that was granted for 1 year, and everything carried on as seemed accessible by the council. Growing cannabis on the island of ours is a risky consideration. Recognize that 2 large facilities, the Orchard and Rivendell, have been long time established here. They are dealing with people from all over the world whose lives have been broken and shattered by the misuse of alcohol and drugs, like marijuana. And I've been in touch with a lot of those people. We live on such a beautiful island, abounding with natural growth. The air is clean. We're surrounded by ocean waters. City noise and lights are not a feature. Families are coming here because of good schools. We're basically a safe haven for them and their little ones. There's a consistency of family friendliness. It's wonderful to live here, even at this age, and I'm very grateful for being here. To add to this framework by introducing legalized grow-ops and making the availability of drugs easier, this is a risky business for the present and for the future. The current council will have to bear this in mind and they'll have to bear their share of responsibility as well as we will have to bear ours. We should have written it just like that.
Lovely. So my name's Pat.
Any questions? No.
Thank you. There's nobody else on the list?
Okay. Would anybody else like to speak to this? Okay, I'm calling a second time for additional public input. And I'm calling a third and final time for any further submissions. Okay, there being no more. Does council want any more information from staff on this? Okay.
Can I just ask a process question on that one? The second recommendation talks about staff reporting back, but it also talks about adjourning the public hearing. So if we wanted input from staff on the question which Glenn raised, which is a very valid question, which came to my mind when I was reading the provincial information today, does that mean we just have to adjourn the public hearing or to get that additional information?
No, staff can impart information to council after a public hearing closes.
Yeah, it's only public submissions, not staff submissions. We can get more
Well, I
information.
guess the
from
second
staff.
recommendation was confusing me because it does say that staff report back to council regarding the public hearing, and then the public hearing be adjourned.
That would normally be used to say we had a 6-7 hour public hearing.
That's what I thought. It's odd that you'd have staff report back to just adjourn it, okay.
Okay. So, I read this one?
You betcha.
Okay. That all written and verbal submissions regarding Bowen Island Municipality Land Use Bylaw number 57, 2002, amendment bylaw 45520 up to 2018, up to and including July 9th, 2018 be received, and that the public hearing be adjourned. Done.
We moved it.
Second.
Oh, you have to move and second and do it on public hearings. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. So that's that one done. We will have the council meeting will start at 7:15.